Hello, my wonderful fourth graders. Welcome to your first day of art online. This is Miss Chickatelli here. As you can see, the artist that we're going to be learning about, his name is Romero Britto, and he is such a fun, really bright, colorful, happy artist to be studying so that we can add some brightness to our days while we're at home. So a little bit about the artist. Romero Britto was born in October 6, 1969 in Brazil. He is a neo-pop artist. So we already studied some pop artists through this year. We studied Andy Warhol, we studied, or in the middle of studying, hopefully when we go back to school, Roy Lichtenstein. A neo-pop artist mean that he's a pop artist of this time. Andy Warhol and Roy Lichtenstein were artists of the 1950s and 60s, and they were pop art then. So he's pop art now. This is what they have been naming him as the type of artist that he is. He's a painter, a printmaker, and a sculptor. He was self-taught at an early age, and he painted what he saw and what he imagined on surfaces such as newspapers, cardboard, or any scraps that he could find. He did really well in school, and in 1983, he went to Paris, in France, where he was introduced to the works of artists that we've heard of before, Henri Matisse and Pablo Picasso. After he exhibited in a few galleries and private shows, he was encouraged to travel to the United States, where pop art was really flourishing. Ever since the age of Andy Warhol and Roy Lichtenstein, pop art has always been very popular. And he is currently living, yes, living, meaning he is alive and well in Miami, Florida. He is from a very big family. He's a family of 9. He has 8 brothers and sisters. And they didn't have a lot of money while he was growing up, and they struggled because they were such a big family. So that was the reason for him using those types of supplies like cardboard and newspapers and any scraps that he could find, he would paint on, because they couldn't afford art supplies at that time. So he turned to his art to fill his life with images of a bigger and more beautiful world beyond his own. He wanted to use his art to make himself happy. So let's talk about his artwork for a little bit. He uses vibrant colors and bold patterns to show feelings of hope and happiness. Think about it yourself. What colors would you use to show hope and happiness in your own artwork? Romero sold his first painting at 14 years old for only $10. He sold an artwork from what he explains was a bunch of stamps that he put together that he took from his mom, and he arranged them in a collage, and he kind of made them look like a flower. And he originally wanted to sell it to his teacher, but his teacher didn't want to buy it. And the neighbor was like, "Hey, I'll buy it." So his neighbor was the one who bought his first artwork for $10. Imagine what it's worth now after he's been so famous for so long. Not only did he use colors that would show happiness, but the subjects that he would paint were also showing happiness as well. In his artwork, you'll see things like teddy bears and the actual word happy. And cats and kitties. And Mickey Mouse. Who's happier than Mickey Mouse? All the colors and patterns that Brito would use in his artwork all symbolize something. Each pattern, each circle, each dot, they all symbolize something for him. So what do you guys think is in the pattern in the white hand on Mickey Mouse here? What do you think that is? Take a second to take a look. Did you figure it out yet? It's actually his signature over and over and over again. If you take a look at the yellow hand, that's his actual signature, so you can compare to see where he gets all those little swirl marks. Brito isn't just a painter. He also creates small and very large sculptures as well as little figurines. This is one of his more giant sculptures. As you can see in the back, it says, "Welcome to New York." This is actually in JFK Airport, right where we're from. Has anyone ever seen this one in JFK Airport? Here are just some more examples of his very many artworks that he has. In one of the videos you'll be watching, he'll say that he's done over 1,000 pieces, thousands of pieces. So what you'll see now after this slide is a short video of Brito working in his studio and talking a little bit about his artwork.
These are the works of Romero Britto. They're joyful, simple, and you may start to notice they're all over the place. But who is Romero Britto? And how did he become so prolific that he is the most licensed artist in history? Let's start with the basics. Romero Britto is an artist, more specifically, a contemporary artist who blends pop art with cubist-like abstraction.
And the subject matters that I do. It's very simple, very direct. I'm very consistent on my colors. And then the lines, the stripes, the little things that I put in my work that is part of my vocabulary.
He was born in Brazil to a big family, and growing up was pretty tough.
My mother had like 12 kids. I wanted to get out of the house because it was chaotic.
And little did he know, art would become his ticket out.
Since I was a kid, I always liked drawing, but I never knew that it would change my life.
At age 25, he moved to Miami, where pop art was flourishing.
I was like, you know what? I love America. I love Miami particularly because it's such a dynamic city.
With no formal art training, he would paint on newspapers and on the streets, the only canvases he could afford.
Before I show my work in galleries, I show my work on the sidewalk in Miami.
He was able to move into a small studio. Soon, getting hit from there, his career took off. Disney, Coca-Cola, Mattel, Samsung, luggage, lamps, watches, bananas. If you can slap a print on it, odds are there's a Britto version of it. His sculptures are in train stations, shopping plazas, hotels, corporate headquarters. The guy has done the Super Bowl, the World Cup, and the Olympics. So yeah, Romero Britto is everywhere.
How many pieces of art I've done? Oh my God, listen, you know, it's pretty hard to keep track of it.
Hundreds?
Like a few thousands.
To keep the business going, he's hired dozens of employees, and the scale of the operation is staggering.
People say that I'm the most licensed artist in history, so I'm very honored for that because it means that my work is reaching out millions of people. I just don't want my art to be enjoyed by the elite of the world, but I want my art to be enjoyed by the masses as well.
But nevertheless, Romero's art has caught the attention of celebrities and heads of state all over the world.
All those pieces are here are prototypes and $1 trillion. People tend to say that if you're colorful and you're fun, you're not serious. But I do think we are all searching for happiness.
And to help others see this happiness, Romero's company has donated to over 250 charities, including the Holtz Children's Hospital in Miami.
If we see all the time darkness, when there's going to be the moment of brightness? Everything about my work is things that I think is very pleasing to my eyes and to my heart and make me feel good because life should be about fun.
All right, I hope that inspired you enough to start creating now. So here's what you're going to need today. You're going to pause me so that you can go ahead and go get your supplies. You need a piece of paper, a ruler, or something that has a straight edge. It could be a piece of cardboard, it could be a box, it could be anything that you can make a straight line with. And lastly, you need a black Sharpie, a black marker, or a crayon, or a colored pencil, anything that you would be able to outline your finished drawing with. Okay, so you can start this drawing either horizontally or up and down. You have your ruler to the side and get ready to go. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick something that means something to you, something that brings you happiness. So what do you think brings happiness to Miss Ciccatelli? I'm going to be drawing a paintbrush. So you could put any object, just make it very simple. See how simple this drawing of the paintbrush I'm doing? There's not too much crazy detail. The same with Brito. So now you're going to take your ruler and you're going to cut this paper up with lines. Not actually cut with a scissor. You're going to draw lines across the paper. And what you're essentially doing here is you're creating all different types of shapes that you're going to fill with patterns. Okay, so don't put too many lines. Just a few, maybe 5 or 6. You can do it halfway, you can do it straight through the whole paper. So what you're going to see here is all these little shapes that you've created now from cutting up those lines. Inside these shapes, each shape gets a new pattern. Okay, so even the small ones that are made by the paintbrush edge, anything that you see that is a closed shape, you're going to put a different type of pattern. Keep these shapes, the pattern shapes, big. Don't make them too small because you'll be here forever. You can do lines, you can do circles, hearts, whatever your heart desires. Okay, I'm going to make some flowers here. Now remember when we talked about good composition? You could put some of these shapes to go almost off the edge of the paper or to make it look like it's going behind your object. So you see how I did that on the back of that, on the top edge of that paper? Kind of looks like the flower piece is going off. And this one's going to go behind the paintbrush. Does everybody see that? Nice and big. Don't put teeny tiny. Again, don't put teeny tiny shapes in here because it's just going to make it harder for you to color in. Okay, I'm going to finish putting in my patterns here. I'm going to fill in every single little shape. You can also leave some shapes solid. I suggest that you do this with the smaller ones, like down towards where my paintbrush ends, where there's smaller shapes of the paintbrush handle and the paintbrushes that I could leave solid. So finish up putting together all of your patterns. Make sure they're big. I'm repeating myself 100 times because I know you guys, and you're going to make these teeny tiny little shapes, and it's going to be very hard for you to color in, okay? So make sure that you're putting in nice big shapes inside for your patterns, and that you're reflecting things that are making you happy. So I'm putting happy faces in here. Okay, so these little shapes I'm going to leave solid. I'm going to put some down at the bottom here, but these shapes above where I'm drawing right now is going to be where I'm going to leave this solid. All right, your last step is to outline this using whatever you have at home, your black Sharpie, your black marker, colored pencil, whatever you have, crayon. I want you to outline everything on this paper. Anything that you made with a ruler or your straight edge, I need you to use that ruler or straight edge with your Sharpie as well so that your lines stay nice and straight. Okay, outline the whole entire thing. And that is all for today. What I'd like you to do after you're finished outlining and you're completely done with this, I'd like you to erase all your pencil lines like we do in class. And then I'd like you to snap a picture and upload it to the Google Classroom. Next week, we're going to be coloring this in, so make sure that you save it. Hope you guys have a great week. See you next time.